This is section 4.2 called the Old Kingdom. When we talk about the kingdoms, there's three kingdoms. There's the Old Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, and the New Kingdom. And they're not actually places like a kingdom. They are just time periods. So the Old Kingdom deals with a certain time period. Then the Middle Kingdom is another time period. And then the New Kingdom is another time period. So when you think of the kingdoms, they are just time periods in Egyptian history. The big idea is that Egyptian government and religion were closely connected during the Old Kingdom. Main ideas. In early Egyptian society, pharaohs ruled as gods and were at the top of the social structure. Religion shaped Egyptian life, and the pyramids of Egypt were built as tombs for the pharaohs. That was the purpose of the pyramids. They were tombs for the pharaohs. Main idea one. In early Egyptian society, pharaohs ruled as gods and were at the top of the social structure. We'll take a look at the social structure in a few minutes, much like how it was in Mesopotamia. The Old Kingdom was a period in which the Egyptians developed a system based on the belief that the pharaoh was both a king and a god. So they thought of their pharaoh as a king and a god. As the population grew, social classes appeared. And like I said, we'll take a look at the social class in a few minutes. And Egyptian began to trade goods with its neighbors, and that was part of Egyptian society. So, Egyptian society, so social class. At the very top, the pharaohs ruled Egypt as gods. Many nobles or people from rich and powerful families. That's what a noble is, people from rich and powerful families. They were officials and priests who helped run the government. Scribes, that you know are writers, and craftspeople wrote and produced goods. Farmers, servants, and slaves made up most of the Egyptian society. So here we take a look at the Egyptian society. So at the very top, you have the pharaoh, and the pharaoh ruled Egypt as a god. Then underneath them was the nobles; those were officials and priests, and they helped run the government and temples. Underneath that were scribes and craftspeople. So remember, scribes are writers. Craftspeople are people who produced goods, who made goods. And then at the bottom of the pyramid, or at the bottom of the social class, were the farmers, servants, and slaves. Most Egyptians were farmers. Below them were servants and slaves. And as you can see, most people made up this social class. Okay, and that's why it's shaped in a pyramid. At the top, you had the pharaoh. Then came the nobles. Okay, people from rich and powerful families. Then you had the scribes, and then at the bottom you had the farmers, servants, and slaves. And again, this is the most amount of people were in this class. Second most, third most, and then obviously just one person at the very top. Main idea two, religion shaped Egyptian life. Religion was a major part of their life. The Egyptians had gods for nearly everything, including the sun, the sky, and the earth. These gods would often mix human and animal forms. And that's where the Great Sphinx comes in, that we did an activity on yesterday, or you will be doing in the future. Egyptian religion focused on the afterlife, or life after death. They had a huge belief in the afterlife. After death, when a person died, his or her ka left the body and became a spirit. So the ka was like their spirit. And they developed embalming to preserve bodies and keep the link between the body and the spirit. The specially treated bodies wrapped in cloth were called mummies, and you're familiar with mummies. But embalming is where they take care of the body and do things to the body to make it, to make it last, and then they wrap it in the cloth to form the mummy. Here you see a sarcophagus. The body was preserved as a mummy and kept in a case called a sarcophagus. Here's the mummy right here. This is the sarcophagus that they created. And then what they would do is take the body's organs out of the body and put them in these jars. And the jars were kept next to the mummy. And this was mainly for pharaohs. Main idea three: the pyramids of Egypt were built as tombs for the pharaohs. Pyramids are huge stone tombs with four triangular sides that met in a point at the top. Um, Historians are unsure how they were built. There's many different theories on how they were able to build such huge structures with very little technology. We can talk about some of those different theories. And you should know what pyramids are and be very familiar with the pyramids of Egypt at this point. Pyramids displayed amazing engineering. Engineering is the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. When you think about how many thousands of years ago it was that they built these pyramids, it is amazing what they were able to do and what they knew in order to create those pyramids. The size and shape of the pyramids showed the importance of the pharaoh. They were the people's link to the gods, so the Egyptians wanted their spirits to be happy. So that's why they built the pyramids for those pharaohs. Here is a picture of here's the Great Sphinx. Okay, it was carved out of rock and left to guard Khafre's tomb. Um, Here's what they think happened with some of the pyramids is that they built these huge ramps next to the pyramid so the workers could drag stone up the ramp and place it and make it higher. And then huge blocks of limestone were cut with copper tools and taken by boat to the building site. And then we'll read this. More than 4,000 years ago, workers near Giza, Egypt, built three massive pyramids as tombs for their rulers. The amount of work this job required is hard to imagine. Tens of thousands of people must have worked for decades to build these gigantic structures. In this illustration, men worked to build the pharaoh Khafre's pyramid. And then I'm going to post this link, Pyramid Animated History, in the folder. And hopefully you're going to be able to click on it and go right to it. And it's a animated history where it's a pyramid, and you can click on all the different parts of the picture, and it will play a little audio for you about the pyramids. And then obviously when you're finished, you can go ahead and start the 4.2 assignment.